Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my apologies for being a little late tonight, but we will be watching the Pro Tier take on the wonderful 5.418 kilometer 16 corner circuit, all very high speed corners except for turn number 6. You will see probably the slowest corner on the entire grid. There's only one DRS zone, and that is going to be down your very long start-finish straight heading into turn 1. This is a full qualifying 50% Grand Prix by this wonderful Pro Tier. They have put on an absolute spectacle of a show this season, and it has been fantastic to watch. Just going into last week, just to recap on the final results from last week, we saw SP Jabbour take home the victory in Shanghai in a very close battle over Komakopa, and then Matthew getting a podium as well. That was your top 3 from last week in Shanghai. We will be now pulling up the driver standings, and our points leader is still trackside at 346 points, and P2 is Silos at 281. LB the GOAT in 3rd with 278. Komakopa 4th with 236. Natural 5th with 226. SP Jabbour with 208 and 6. Matthew in 7th with 203. Osmanian Devil 8th with 196. Mr. Miller 10th with 190. Raptor KK Mr. Miller is 9th with 190. Raptor KK 10th with 187. Bong at 11th with 136. IRZ with 133 and 12th. The Boonster 13th with 112. TMM Racing 14th with 86. LK 15th with 82. King C-Dot 16th with 79. Feeney 71 and 17th. Peak Hour 41 and 18th. Farmer Ginge 19th with 30. And GC Adventure at the bottom in 20th with 8 points. Pulling up the team standing, we have Ferrari with 624, Aston Martin second with 484, McLaren third with 462, Mercedes with 320 and fourth, AlphaTauri fifth with 272, Alfa Romeo sixth with 269, Red Bull seventh with 253, Williams 250 and 8, Haas 9th with 249, and Alpine in 10th with 90 points. That is your team standings. Komakopa looks like he is coming around the final corner of turn 16 to head towards the line. See how he does here as he crosses the line. He's coming very close to leapfrogging himself all the way up into the P2 position. So he will definitely be making it through into Q2. So qualifying for Q1 is all done. Unfortunately, TMM Racing, Bonga, and GC Adventure are all going to have to wait until the start of the Grand Prix here. And I believe it's 29 laps. I might be miscorrected. But that is your qualifying in Q1, with Feeney setting a provisional pole there. Got himself through smoothly with Komakopa right behind him in P2. SP third in P3. SP Jabbour in P3 with up there trackside fourth. He's going to make it through. Silos will also make it through. Raptor, LB the GOAT, Natural, Osmanian Devil, and the Boonster rounds out your top 10. LK, Patty Cake, Peak Hour, IRZ, Matthew will all make it through into Q2. TMM Racing, Bonga, and GC Adventure unfortunately will have to sit out for the next 2 qualifying sessions before we get the grid finally sorted out for the Grand Prix. So again, my apologies for being a little late and not really capturing Q1. Had to put some food in my stomach as I was a little hungry. So it was a great dinner, I will tell you that. So looking here, not exactly sure what happened. My Okay, perfect. Telemetry and lap data here. So the next session is going to be about 15 minutes long. This will decide your top 10 cars that will be competing for the pole position. It will be an absolute shootout all the way to the end. Is waiting on the first car to come out here on circuit, and it looks like that may be trackside as he just pulled out of his pit stall and will be making his way onto the circuit here in Qatar. So trackside has pulled out onto the track. He's got some folks right behind him. He's making our way. LB the GOAT, his teammate, going to come out right behind him. Osmanian Devil's also out on the circuit. And the Natural. And everybody's starting to pull out here as well. Got Raptor KK, a guy who's been showing some nice speed as of late. He had to do a little work to fix that throttle problem he has. Now he's definitely getting that full throttle here in the Grand Prix and during qualifying. So he is a driver to keep your eye out for. He's been showing a little bit of speed as of late. Matthews, shocking podium finish last week. So he's another guy to potentially keep your eye on. Maybe just figured out what he needed to do with that car to start putting himself up towards the front and competing as well. His teammate right there behind him sits on the grid, but he is on the track. That is Silos. Another great driver, pretty quick as long as it's raining. Got some pace in the dry. But let's jump back on board with trackside here as he just came around the final corner of turn 15. Opens up the DRS flap. He's got the ERS burning as he makes his run down into turn 1. Gonna brake all the way down into 4th gear. You gotta carry all your speed as you can. Now into turn 2. The nice, wonderful left-hander here. Coming through turn 3. Gonna make his way up here into a double right-hander of turn 4. And then turn 5. The heavy braking zone all the way down into turn 6. The slowest corner on the track. And he's got a really nice exit, a little loose on the power, and making his way through turn 7. Gonna come through this nice windy section. You want to keep it within the track limit. Very easy to get outside of the track limits, and I think this is turn 11. Let me just pull up my track map to make sure I am correct on that. That was turn 10, 11. Now he's into turn 12. 13 and 14 here, flat out section, making his way into the wonderful left-hander, very fast left-hander here of turn 15. Gonna break down into 5th gear, get back on the throttle very, very early off the exit of the final corner as he makes his run to the line. Let's see where he sets his benchmark, and he's gonna come across with a 123.032. My assumption is he did that on a used set of tires, and his teammate right behind him with a 123.082. Jump on board with Patty Cake as he invalidated. So here comes the Natural down the start-finish straight to put down his first benchmark lap. Where is he going to put himself with a 123.7? Right behind him, Raptor jumps up to the top for a provisional pole with a 122.732. Silos jumps up into the P4 position, so he is looking pretty solid to make it through into the Q3. IRZ and Peak Hour just comes across the line, and here comes the Boonster, sets a new fastest lap with a 122.674. His teammate SP right behind him, making a run towards the line as he's gonna come across, put himself up into the P5 position, as him and LB the GOAT have the exact same time of a 123.082. Jump on board with the Williams of Beanie on a set of softs. He made it through Q1 on provisional pole with a set of medium tires. See where he comes across the line. 122.403. So a great lap by him. LK Unfortunately, he did not put a lap down. My assumption is he did invalidate. Komakopa is currently just warming up his tires as he's heading towards the line. Patty Cake, unfortunately, has invalidated on his time, so he will not be putting down a lap. In the meantime, let's jump on with Komakopa here as he's making his way through turn 12, 13, and then 14. And unfortunately, Feeney has been disconnected, so let me invite him back into the session real quick. So I got him an invite sent, and Komakopa is now down into the final corner of turn 16. Back on the throttle, opens up the DRS. Flap making a run down into turn 1. Comes across the line to start his first flyer of the Q2 session. Down into 4th gear through turn 1. Now making his way. Does not use any of the outside curb off the exit of 1. Coming through 2. Got all that exit curb off of turn 2 on the way through 3. Down this nice little straight heading into 4 and 5. Very fast 2 right-handers here as he's going to get heavy on the brakes going down into 6th gear of the hairpin. And he's back on the throttle heading straight into turn 7. It's a weird corner. It seems like a very late apex at turn 7, making his way through 8 and now 9. Going to get on the brakes into 10. Very easy to lose the back end of the car through turn 10 and through 11. He's going to make his way to the flat out section of 12, 13, and 14. He's got a purple sector too, so it's looking very promising for him. He's got to try and keep it within the track limits off the turn 14. Coming through 15 now. Heading towards the final corner of turn 16. Going to get on the brakes all the way down into 4th gear. Looking to open up that DRS flap in about 40 meters. Opens it up, making a run towards the line. We'll see what he looks like when he crosses. And he's up to P2. He's just over a tenth off of Feeney there for the provisional pole to make their way into Q3. Peak hour, I'm assuming he's going to dive into pit lane there, as well as Tasmanian Devil as well. So let's jump on board with the first car on the circuit at the time being. That's going to be official Silos here as he's making his way through turn 6. And then we will get rolling again for the second qualifying times of the Q2 session. Want to be very cautious you aren't burning through all your soft tires here, as you want to try and maintain some soft tires going into Q3 and then hopefully try and save a set for the Grand Prix. Right behind him, I believe that it's going to be Komakopa. Not exactly sure. I think he may, or no, he completed his lap. Silos just got on the circuit before he did. So, before Komakopa got by him. We will jump on board with Silos as he's making his way into turn 16, back on the throttle super early. Got it full planted. Opens up the flap. He's making his run down to the line to start his second lap of the qualifying session here in Q2. Going to be looking to break down into turn 1. We'll ride on board with him. Get rid of everything off the screen heading into turn 2. Going to try and use a little bit of that outside curve coming through turn 3 now. He's going to make a run down into 4 and 5. The double right-hander here. You want to carry as much speed as you can through turn 4. That would allow you to get a great entrance into 5, down into the hairpin of turn 6. Back on the throttle, about the apex here, making a run towards 7 now. Very late apex into turn 7. You start out wide, you want to cut right across the apex, come through 8, now 9. He's going to get heavy up, get light on the brakes into turn 10. Lets the car carry to the outside of the circuit, coming through turn 11 now. Heading towards the flat out section of 12. Going to keep it within track limits into 13. And now off of 14 here as he's making his run towards turn 15. The left-hander very fast. You can lose the car there if you're not if you're using too much curves as he's making his way through turn 16 now. Back on the throttle, gets a little loose off the exit, opens up that DRS flap, and he's making his run towards the line as we speak, and he's going to jump himself up into the P5 position with a 122.8. So great lap by him. Let's see here. We got the natural also on a lap. He's 3/10 up on his time through Sector 1, heading into Sector 2. 6/10 up on his time, purple Sector 2. That's looking at putting him at a 23.1, so he's got to find some more time here as he's coming through turn 15, heading towards the final corner of 16. On the brake, off the exit we go. Making a run towards the line, got that DRS flap wide open. How is he gonna do? 122.8, gained almost 9/10 on that time. Puts him up into the P5 position, so a wonderful lap by him. IRZ appears to be on a lap as well, off the exit of turn 6, heading towards 7 now. Coming through turn 8. You cut over that curb, you can actually cut off a little bit of time there. Now into turn 10. Off the exit of turn 10, making his run through 11, and he decides to back out. I'm not exactly sure why, but he is backed out of his lap here in the qualifying session. Very unfortunate for him. On board with Patty Cake as he's making his run into turn 4 and 5. Has not set a lap for the Q2 session, and he's down into the heavy braking zone of turn 6, the heaviest braking zone on the entire circuit. He's now going to make a run through turn 7 and 8. Jump on board with Osmanian Devil as he's about to hit Sector 2 split. He's 7/10 up on a time, purple Sector 2. Still not enough to put him on the provisional pole, but he's making his way through the flat out section of 12, 13, and 14. Now coming through 15, making a run towards the final corner of turn 16. Lightly on the brakes, off the exit we go. Gonna open up that DRS flap, heading towards the line. Got enough battery to get him there. He hasn't used all of it. Deployed to use now, and he has not gained enough to move him up, but he is inside the top 10. That is looking promising for him. Jump back on board with the natural here, as he has appeared to back out of his lap. So we got an AlphaTauri somewhere here on the circuit. Not there. LK is about to start a lap here. Got quite a few drivers out on the circuit looking to start a qualifying lap. Let's see, who's this car heading into, or I believe LK might be the next car on a lap, or peak hour. Not gaining enough, but is he gained enough to move him up? He's only jumped up into P11. He did not put himself into the Q3 yet. We have a Mercedes of SP going down into turn 1. Jump on board with the Red Bull. That is Raptor. He has not put down, or he has not started his final lap yet. As LB the GOAT, trackside coming through turn 15. Everybody getting out of the way. A little bit of traffic on the circuit as we're making our way through turn 4 and 5. Nice little straight down into the heavy braking hairpin of turn 6. We got a purple sector 1 from the GOAT as he is up 3.5 on his time coming through turn 7. Gonna try and cut through here of 8 and 9, heading towards turn 10. Wants to be careful not to lose the car, not to invalidate off the exit. He keeps it within the track limits. Now he's making his run towards the flat out corners of 12, 13, and 14. Purple sector 2, a half a second up on a time. He needs to gain about another 10th, and he will put himself on the provisional pole. Coming through turn 15, making his run down into the final corner on the circuit. The nice right-hander here of turn 16. He sees the line in sight, opens up that DRS flap, making a run down the long straight, heading toward turn 1. Does he put it on provisional pole? And he does! By 7 thousandths of a second. The GOAT has put himself on provisional pole, looking to get through into Q3. And I would say he has well secured his spot into Q3. Here comes Raptor off the final corner, making a run towards the line. Got that DRS flap wide open. He's going to come across up to P4 with a 122.6, so he's looking to get through as well. And nobody else appears to be on a lap except Trackside, and Trackside gets provisional pole as well. Ferrari 1-2 in the Q2 session, so they both have moved up into Q3. Well done by the Ferrari team. Feeney did not go back out, and neither did Comacopa go back out for their final laps in the Q2 session. Natural appears to be on a lap though, as he's making a run towards the final corner of turn 16. He has made it through, but just a little bit of reassurance as he's making it towards the line. Does not improve on the time, but he is looking to be in through. IRZ trying to gain enough time off the exit of turn 16. Can he get himself another about a half a second here? Make himself come to the line? Not close enough to get into Q3. So it looks like Osmanian Devil can wipe the sweat off his forehead for that one. He has made it into Q3 with a 123.2, the final spot. So that is your Q2 results, folks. We will be getting ready to do a shootout for the pole position. It's going to be very competitive. We got some very close times here in the Q2 session. I look forward to seeing what these folks can bring us here as we're heading towards our Q3. There we have it, folks. That is our Q2 session. IRZ, Peak Hour, LK, Patty Cake, and Matthew unfortunately did not qualify for the Q3, but Osmanian Devil, Silos, Natural, Jabur, DeBoonster, Raptor, Comacopa, Feeney, LB, the GOAT, and Trackside are all going to put in an absolute shootout for, I want to say, 12 minutes here of the final qualifying session, and that will get our grid set for your 29 wonderful laps, high speed laps around this track. Going to be very interesting to see where people are going to be able to make some moves. You can carry a lot of momentum around the outside, and you can definitely make something stick. You can also carry that momentum through the inside, but there will be a lot of side-by-side action here in Qatar. And it is going to be about 12 minutes here of the qualifying session, the final qualifying session of Q3. Let's bring up the telemetry and the fastest lap thing here, or time intervals, whatever you call it. They call it lap data. But onto the circuit, we got some folks coming out here to get their first lap. LB the GOAT, and it looks like Silos also will be taken to the circuit. Raptor right behind him as well. Everybody else is just patiently waiting in the garage to start their final qualifying session here. And Trackside look to be coming out as well. We got a Mercedes of the Boonster as well coming out. And so everybody's going to be hitting the track here for the final qualifying session. Let's see who gets himself up to the top of the board. Comacopa and Feeney only ran one lap in Q2, so they're looking to make things interesting here coming through. Still on board with Silos here as he's rounding turn 7 to get ready to start his first and final flyer here in qualifying. Going a little too fast for my liking with these tires. You don't want to wear them out too much during your outlap, otherwise you're not going to have all that necessary grip going into your hot lap. But he's making his way through the final flat out section of 12, 13, 14, now coming through 15, getting ready to start his final lap. Gonna turn on that battery, coming around turn 16. Opens up the DRS flap, making a run towards the line. Gonna have a Mercedes in front of him for traffic. And now he's making a run down into turn 1. On the brakes, all the way down the 4th gear, lets that car slide right through the corner, coming into turn 2. There's another wonderful fast corner here. As he's coming through turn 3, the Mercedes pulls to the inside, lets him through, heading into turn 4 and 5. Keeps it within track limits, doing really well so far, down into the heavy braking hairpin of turn 6, 27.5 through sector 1 split. Now he's making a run up into turn 7. Very late apex on turn 7, heading around 8 and 9. Down into the fast right-hander here of turn 10. Gonna continue to carry that the left-hander, carry the momentum through the turn 11. 55-1 through sector 2. Coming around turn 13 into 14. Lets off the throttle a little bit, coming now into the turn 15, making his run towards the final corner. Let's see what he's looking at. Gonna get down into 4th gear, back on the throttle, off the exit, opens up the DRS flap, making a run towards the line. Down the long start finish straight, heading towards the line with a provisional pole of a 123.2, and that immediately gets topped by LB the GOAT with a 122.6. Here comes Raptor as he's making his run towards the line as well. Is he going to put this on provisional? He does with a 122.5. Great lap by him. And here comes Trackside making a run towards the line. Is he going to put himself provisional? No, he is not. 123.2. The Mercedes using a little bit of that slipstream down into turn 1 to Boonster. Jumps up into P3 with a 122.8. Osmanian Devil rounding turn 16, getting ready to start his lap. Feeney has also not started his lap. The Natural has not started his lap, but I see what he's doing though. He's going to be using slipstream for his teammate here on the throttle, giving Comacopa a run to the line. Comacopa up into P2 with a 122.6. So great teamwork there by his teammate of the Natural. We're on board with Feeney as he's looking to start his lap as he comes across the line as well. See here, looks to be, I want to say it is SP who is the furthest so far on the circuit out of the remaining folks that have not put down a lap as he's rounding turn 14 flat out through 14. Coming into turn 15, still flat out, barely keeps it within track limit, heading towards the final corner. Looking to get a nice run down the start finish straight. Opens up the DRS flap. Got 11% battery left. The deployed has been used. Comes across the line. Where's he going to be? P5 with a 122.8. So great lap by him. Jump on board here with Osmanian Devil as he's rounding through turn 15, heading towards the final corner of the circuit. Of turn 16, off the exit, gets a little loose on the exit. He opens up the DRS flap, making his run towards the line now. What's he looking at? Up into P6 with a 123.045. Natural is going to be probably going into pit lane. Feeney has also dived into pit lane. Did not manage to get his first lap down of the Q3 session. Jump on board with Natural as he's coming through turn 15, heading towards the final corner. Looks like he is getting ready to start getting ready to put down a lap here in the Q3. Opens up the DRS flap, making a run towards the line. He's heading down into turn 1 now. got no traffic in front of him, as it appears Silos just came out of pit lane to start his second qualifying session. And now making his way through turn 2. He's got turn 3 right in front of him, giving him a nice long straight down into turn 4. Double right-hander here. Is he going to keep it within the track limit? Uses a little bit of the exit curve off of 4, coming through 5. Down into the heavy braking zone of turn 6, all the way into 3rd gear. Off the exit he goes, making his run up into turn 7. The nice right-hander here, very late apex. How is he going to do off the exit? He's riding on that curb all the way through turn 8 and 9. Down into turn 10. Keep that car under control off the exit. Now he's going to make his run through turn 11. A very long left-hander here. Heading up into the flat-out section, purple sector 2. He is absolutely flying on this lap. Coming through turn 14. Keeps it within the track limit barely. Coming through turn 15. Let's see how he's looking off the exit. He's still got a perfect car running down into turn 16. See what he's looking at as he's making his run down the start-finish straight. Heading to put his lap down. He's right on the white line there off the exit of turn 16. Comes across the line and he only manages a P7, so a purple sector 2, and manages a P7. Silos is starting his next lap. We got 4 minutes left here in Q3 as we're making our way through turn 2. Gonna get turn 3 right in front of him, and then the nice straight heading down into turn 4. Follow on board here with him as he's making his way into turn 4. Gonna use a little bit of the extra curve off of 4. All the entrance curve on 5. Down into the heavy braking zone. Purple sector 1. 10th and a half up on his time. Making a way towards turn 7 of the nice late apex of the right-hander. Coming through turn 8. He's staying right on the curb here through 9. Uses all of the track he can use. Coming through turn 10. He's got 11 right in front of him. He's going to get a little bit of a tow from the natural. No natural decides not to help him out. Jumps out of his way. Purple sector 2. 4/10 up on his time. Coming through turn 13. He's going to try and keep it within the limit of 14. Heading into 15 now. He's got the final corner right in front of him of turn 16. He's going to be looking to get a nice run down this long start-finish straight. Opens up the DRS flap in about 10 meters. He's got it wide open. The ERS still running. Heading towards the line. Let's see where he jumps up with a provisional pole of a 122.431. So a fantastic lap by him. Jump on board with Feeney now as he's into the heavy braking zone of 6. And he's going to make a run towards the late apex of 7. I don't think this track has any track corner names. Now he's got Osmanian Devil right in front of him with a yellow flag in sector 2. He's off the exit of turn 10. He's got 11 right in front of him. See how he's looking towards the flat out triple right-hander here. 13 now, going into 14. Is he going to keep it within the limits? He barely keeps it within the limits there. How's he looking? He got on the curb that kind of put him offset a little bit. Unbalanced the car into the final corner. As he's going to open up the DRS flap in 100 meters. He's coming across, making a run down the start-finish straight. That's probably going to be his only opportunity to put this car on pole. Comes across the line with a 121.8. He's got 6/10 clear of Silos. Comacopa now just coming out of pit lane. Osmanian Devil has appeared to start his final lap of the qualifying session here. Is he going to be able to improve as he's making his way through turn 2? He's got 3 and then this nice long straight heading towards turn 14 or turn 4 and 5. Double right-hander. He's not going to use any curb off the exit. Uses a little bit on the entrance of 5. Down into the heavy hairpin braking zone. Off the exit, keeps the car under control. Uses all the exit curb. Now he's got this very late apex here of turn 7. Everybody is starting their final laps here of the shootout here in qualifying session number 3. Off the exit of 10, he's got 11 right in front of him. It's going to carry him all the way up into the heavy triple right-hander flat out section of 12, 13. Now he's got 14 right in front of him. He's off the exit, making his way through turn 15. He's going to have to keep this car nice and steady, making his run down into the final corner on the circuit. See what he's looking like off the exit. Now he's got the long DRS straight. Start-finish straight right in front of him. The question is, one of these McLarens are awfully far back. Is that McLaren going to make it to the line to start his final qualifying session? And Osmanian Devil up into the P3 position with a 122.493. It appears that Komakopa was able to get across the line to start his final lap in qualifying. Unfortunately, Natural was not quick enough to get around the circuit. On board with the Ferrari teammates here, as Trackside and LB the GOAT both jump up the table into P2 and P3. So Ferrari 2-3 right now. Question is Raptor going to be able to separate them as he comes across the line? He's up into P4, not quick enough to separate, but he is on the second row. Let's see the Mercedes of SP as he's got a teammate working right behind him. SP's going to come up and he jumps onto the front row side by side with Feeney. DeBooster's going to move himself up into P8. Now we're just waiting on the final driver on the circuit. Komakopa making his way through turn 11. Is he going to be up on his time through sector 2? He is 3/10 up on his time. He's got to gain about another 7 or 5/10 here. Coming through turn 15. Making his run down into the final corner here in the qualifying session. Gonna get down into 4th gear. Back on the throttle super early. Off the exit. Opens up the DRS flap. Making a run down the long start finish straight. Let's see what he does coming across the line. And he splits the Ferrari. Puts himself in the second row. Very close qualifying session. Very close. 7/10 separating all the way down to DeBoonster. Got 1.3 separating all the way down to the Natural. So very close qualifying session here from everybody. That is absolutely fantastic. And that is going to put us, that rounds out your top 10 here of the qualifying. And it is going to get us started for the Grand Prix. Well, there you have it, folks. What a great qualifying. Feeney has taken the pole. And we will go through your top 10 once again, once I can see the standings. So there we have it, folks. Feeney has taken pole, SP in P2. The trackside right behind him in P3. McLaren at Komakopa has separated the two Ferrari teammates, put himself in row 2 of P4. I'll be the GOAT P5, Raptor 6th, Official 7th, Osmanian Devil 8th, DeBoonster 9th, and the Natural will round out your top 10. That is your qualifying here. We are getting ready to start the 50% Grand Prix around Qatar. It's going to be about 29 laps, and some amazing racing will be taking place. For everybody who is currently tuned in, let me know. Keep an eye here on the grid as we will be announcing driver of the day by the end of the Grand Prix. So we're going to give these guys some time to get ready to roll around here at Qatar. This is usually a MotoGP track. In remember last season when they raced here, if I remember correctly, I believe Logan Sargent got sick in his cockpit while he was driving around the circuit due to the amount of excessive G-force in the high-speed corners. It really can wear you out, as there's a lot of G-force. The great thing is these folks don't have to experience that G-force around the Qatar Grand Prix, but It's still a very tiring track because it's very high speed, so you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to keep your car within track limit. It is one of those circuits where we will possibly see a lot of time penalties, but if these folks have prepared themselves well enough, they will not be putting themselves into that position of receiving multiple track limit warnings. In the meantime, just give me a moment here. I'm going to take a sip of my drink and get ready for this Grand Prix.